Hi guys, so I decided to come on here. I'm going to be working with healing and clearing some trauma energy right now within myself. So I figured it would be a good opportunity to go ahead and help you guys build your own energy map. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, this is converting energy mapping protocol. So the first thing we're going to do, you don't worry about what this says or trying to look at it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to label it energy map at the top. Then I want you to draw 7 circles, okay? The bottom, label it on the inside, root, soul, solar, heart, throat, brow, crown. To the left of those circles, I want you to, next to crown, to write self-awareness. And then I want you to write, how can I bring more self-awareness to this ... Next to brow, to the left, write honesty. And then underneath that, how can I bring more honesty to this ... Third one, throat, write self-accountability. How can I bring more self-accountability to this ... To the left of the heart, compassion. Right? How can I bring more self-compassion to this ... To the left of solar, self-acceptance. How can I bring more self-acceptance into this ... Next to sacral, write gratitude. How can I bring more gratitude to this ... Next to the left of the root, authenticity. How can I bring more authenticity into this ... All right. So the next thing you're going to do, our healing and clearing trauma energy protocol is sitting with, allowing, surrendering to, feeling, cleansing, healing, forgiving, and clearing. So I want you to write to the right of the root, sit with in self-awareness. To the right of the sacral, allow/surrender with honesty. To the right of the solar, right, feel with self-accountability. Then we've got cleansing with self-compassion. Then we've got, to the right of the throat, healing with self-accountability. To the right of the brow, forgiving with gratitude. To the right of the crown, clearing with authenticity. All right, so what does this mean? All right, so here's a copy of my energy map. And what I do is, when I identify my blocks and I remove a block and I sit with the protocol that I'm going to show you, I basically then draw a little line and I put the program that I'm healing and clearing and releasing the trauma energy with. I'm identifying timelines, programs, and shutting down structures as I'm going through this healing process. All right, so what came in for me a little bit ago was I'm dealing with some shock energy and confusion. So what I do is, so I'm going to do an old one because obviously we don't have a lot of time for me to sit here and go through the entire process. But really this is a listening process. This is a process where we learn how to communicate with our higher self, how to work with the inner critic in dialogue, how to pull out our blocks, how to heal and clear timelines, programs and structures through going back in childhood, identifying shadow aspects of self. And this requires a listening and a feeling protocol. So what we're basically doing is we're using what I call the lucky 7. So we're bringing in more self-awareness, honesty, accountability, compassion, acceptance, gratitude, and authenticity. This is our template, okay, for bringing in, calling in the information and sitting with it as we work through the healing protocol of sitting with, allowing, feeling, cleansing, healing. So what people don't realize is they think, oh, I acknowledged that in childhood. I healed that. And they think they're healed, but that's not the case. Healing happens in spirals. Trauma energy has to be healed and cleared slowly over time. You can't just pull out trauma energy. It's not one and done. It doesn't work that way. You have to remember, these programs that we're working with and the energy that we have to converge, so we have to converge regret timelines into satisfaction timelines. This takes time. So with every negative emotion, fear, guilt, shame, judgment, regret, anger, jealousy, resentment, these are all behaviors. So we have to go back and identify when we've stepped into these behaviors. We have to correct these timelines. And the only way we can do that is through the healing and clearing process. But first we have to become aware, because the truth is we become blocked. All of these programs, guilt, fear, shame, anger, resentment, jealousy, they're all blocks. Humiliation. These shadows come in anytime we feel a certain way about a certain thing. We get to deflect and redirect and disassociate from these emotions, because that's the programs. It's designed to keep you out of the solution mindset and into living inside of the problem. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is, so I'm identifying, I'm going to sit with shock. And the first thing I'm going to do is say, I now give myself permission to push past all blocks and barriers, keeping me from identifying this shock energy, any timelines and structures associated with shock that's blocking me from moving into my highest awareness and my highest potential. So I say, how can I bring more self-awareness to this shock energy that I'm experiencing? And what I do with is I immediately go through to the root and I say, okay, let me sit with this shock energy. How can I bring more self-awareness into this shock energy? And I literally just sit here and I wait and I listen, and I have my pen handy. And I just breathe into my chakra system. Now take your time, because you really need brain and heart coherence for this. Can't have any distractions. You want to declutter your mind. You really want to feel into this. You want to feel into the shock energy. So the first question you want to ask is, where do I feel this energy? Usually for me, I start to feel a little chaotic, like I'm throwing rocks at a bee's nest and starting to stir up some bees. So that's what I'm feeling, is that energy inside of me that's stirring up. So immediately I feel this in my heart chakra. So this is where I'm holding my shock right now, but I can guarantee it's throughout the whole chakra system. So it's not going to be a one and done, but what we're doing is we're pulling out whatever information we can that shock can reveal to us through our feelings and emotions. So my next question, I breathe for a few minutes. And again, there's no hurry in this process. You might be sitting with something for 5-10 minutes. I mean, there may be parameters set in place where it makes you feel, you step into anxiety. You step into depression immediately. You may step into, for me, I start to feel really lethargic, like I'm going to pass out and fall asleep, like something just does not want me to get to this energy and understand it. So I then would say, how can I bring more honesty into my awareness in regards to this shock energy? Let me sit with this energy for a few minutes and let me breathe into my chakras. So again, we're going to start identifying where you feel it. So usually, it takes you, depending on the level of trauma energy stored in the body, usually takes until you get to accountability, self-accountability, where we can start really feeling the energies. But that's why you're going to take your time. You're going to feel these energies. You're going to sit with them. You're going to allow them to reveal to you so you can become more honest with yourself. You're going to feel into your feelings with self-accountability. We don't step into victimhood, blame. We are in non-attachment observer mode. As we feel into this, we take any self-accountability for any actions that we've, that kind of come through our behaviors that will inevitably be revealed to us through this process. We're going to cleanse through self-compassion. We're going to, by this time, you usually start to have an awareness that a lot of times through forgiveness, we see that we really didn't have any other choice, or we were just working with a level of awareness where we didn't have better skills to work with. So then we start working with forgiveness and gratitude for this feeling and what it's bringing in for us. So we just sort of go through, again, we take our time, we breathe. I don't mean to keep repeating that, but that really is the crux of this exercise, is to learn how to connect with yourself, how to listen to your body. The body reveals to you where all the energy is trapped. We're building that just ability to be able to ask a question and get honest answers. But we have to be able to move our ego mind out of the way, where we're not judging anything, we're not attaching to anything, we're not getting stuck into any type of an emotion. So the next thing I would do, how can I bring more self-accountability into this shock energy? Okay. So then I sit with it. I allow it. I feel into the question, how can I take more self-accountability? I listen for answers. I feel into it, to the self-accountability. I cleanse through self-compassion. So usually by this time, the energy is stirring up. Sometimes you may have to stop. You may have to work through some things. You start to notice how your self-worth, how depression is tied to a lot of these energies. We're really just, this is a discovery phase, discovering where energy is trapped in our body, our weak spots. This is obviously a very in-depth process, and we want to make sure we go into it with an open mind, and we have an understanding that we are safe, we're loved, we're supported through self-accountability, self-awareness, honesty, self-acceptance, through our surrender, non-attachment, non-judgment. We always want to use our discernment. And the best way to do that is through observer mode, where we consider everything that comes in, but we don't attach to anything. We don't step into blame, victimhood. We just sit with, we allow, and we feel. And usually by the end of the exercise, I mean, this is not a one and done. This is an ongoing process that we're going to cultivate within ourselves and perfect this process, because this process has the ability, this is how we're going to shut down programs, timelines, and structures. So this is where we're going to turn our fear into bravery structures, our loneliness into connection structures, anger into acceptance structures. But this requires that we heal and clear trauma energy. All right, guys, so that's a little process you can work with yourselves. Remember, stick with the Lucky 7 protocol. It's that's where your protection is. And if you stay within those parameters without judging, you'll be just fine. Remember, we're sitting with, allowing, feeling, cleansing, healing, sifting, sorting, forgiving, trying to see things from as many perspectives as we can without being attached to anything. Have an amazing day. Thank you.